If you stay up to date with the content that I put out and the film reviews that I end up doing, you'll already know that I'm not necessarily a fan of the horror genre, but at the end of the day, I just love going to the cinema. I love trying to work out what these new sort of modes and mediums are, and I love sharing my thoughts and opinions with you guys. So in today's video, I'm going to share my thoughts and a bit of a review about the new film, Scream 2022, obviously with also exploring the callbacks to the original sort of franchises. Let's jump into it. Scream has to be one of the most well-known horror franchises pretty much throughout the world. You've got your standard white mask, the sort of ghost mask that is seen and has been parodied in a multitude of different films. We've had the Scary Movie franchise that has completely gone away with it, and also other sort of references throughout pop culture that links back to the original film. When you think of horror films in modern Hollywood or modern cinema, you have basically, I would like to say, the three main sort of categories or franchises. You've got the Halloween franchise with a recent release last year. You have the Friday the 13th franchise, which is obviously with Jason Voorhees, and also the Scream franchise. You obviously have a whole nother sort of load of like Paranormal Activity and those sort of films. But if you think of the most iconic and sort of pop culture related references, they will come from those films. To be honest, with this sort of new version of the Scream franchise, it is very culturally aware. It really builds into perspective all these other films and obviously has a lot of callbacks throughout it. When I sat down to watch it, I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting a sort of similar sort of horror action film that was presented in Halloween Kills just last year. And I thought that film was all right, but Scream 2022 is levels above it. It isn't necessarily the best horror film. It's not ticking all the boxes for avid horror fans. And I was scared in parts, but not super scared. There's gory violence, there's swearing. Obviously, with it being an 18 rating here in the UK, that's going to restrict some audiences. But I thought it was a decent film. I really did think the techniques that were used in terms of the way it was shot, in terms of how people got stabbed to death, all that sort of stuff really played well and fit along the story. The thing that I really love about these sort of Scream films, and also about sort of whodunit murder mysteries, is, well, basically, who is it? Who are the killers going to be? Is it going to be one killer? Is it going to be two killers? Who's going to be responsible for it? All that sort of stuff. And throughout the story and throughout the narrative, that really plays a part of the story. We see like characters guessing, oh, could it be you? Could it be you? All that sort of stuff. And I think that that works really well. As I mentioned, it is very culturally aware. And throughout the film, characters are actually referencing back to the original films. They're not called the Scream films within the Scream film, but basically it's the same. They're referencing the old films and they're making it appropriate for a modern day audience. We know from the originals the sort of story of the person being at home on the phone, and there is a parody of that at the start of the film with a character that obviously has made an appearance in the series You. If you've seen that, you will know what I'm on about. But the sort of parody nature and the references back does play a part of the story and gives it a more modern feel, mainly because they're sat there breaking the sort of fourth wall, being like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. It's sort of a perceptive fourth wall break, because we know that we've obviously got all this cultural diversity and awareness, and they kind of have that as well, and it's quite interesting to see the blend and vibe. The actual end of the film is fantastic. I'm not going to spoil it, so don't worry, but the actual playoff is just great. Like I said, I'm really into a whodunit sort of film, murder mystery sort of thing. And it really did work really effectively. If you do like whodunits and murder mysteries though, I would really recommend the film Knives Out. That is a fantastic like whodunit mystery action adventure thing. It's got Daniel Craig in. That's really great. Fingers crossed they've got a sequel coming. But besides the point, let's just get back to talking about Scream. I think Scream 2022 has been a really effective sort of installment to the franchise. I think that it's worked really well. I think that obviously there are certain things that horror lovers aren't going to love. There's not enough sort of jump scares and scary moments, but I think that there are a number of different sort of, oh, that could have happened. And then when you see the gore, it does work quite effectively. Like I say, the twist at the end works really, really well. And overall, I think this film has been packaged in a really, really fantastic way. That has been all for today's video. I know it's been a short one. I just wanted to share my opinions really, really quickly. If you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe, and fingers crossed, I will see you in the next one. See you then, guys. See ya.